Hey, it's Zdroik back for another showdown slate at DraftKings. This one is the North London Derby, Tottenham against Arsenal. I'm just going to break down some cash stuff, some tournament stuff, whatever, break down recent matchups, team form kind of a thing. This is, I think, a pretty difficult showdown for both cash and tournament, and you'll find that out as I start to dive through some stuff. But looking at lineups, Tottenham don't really change a ton up, so they're probably going to be exactly the same as what we have in the screen. We'll see with Arsenal. There's a chance Ben White starts. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. I think he's missed two in a row now. If he doesn't go, Rob Holding will be back there. I don't think it's much of a difference, really. Saka, I think, is the big question for Arsenal. We'll see how he is. He usually plays through any kind of small injury, so I assume he's going to be in the starting 11. I think he's only missed two or three matches all season, if that. But I mean, whenever he has something minor, he's usually in there. I wonder if Arteta was kind of playing games when he said, I think it was yesterday. Um, it was just that Saka is unknown. He has an injury, whatever. So, I mean, if he doesn't go, we could see Martinelli and Smith Rowe both in the starting 11. We'll see if that happens. I do think Saka starts, though. So, looking at this, we have 1.49 implied goal total for Tottenham, 1.28 for Arsenal. I looked at this an hour ago. These numbers dropped. So, it looks like there is some money on the under. And I guess that's where I'll get into here. So the big thing with this matchup is that the home team has really had the edge. The home team has won the last five meetings. It also includes a friendly that took place this past August. But I mean, I guess in terms of no, that was at Tottenham. So the last time the away side won was 2018. That was the EFL Cup. The last time the away side won in league play was 2014. Uh, so we have all that. I know Arsenal are playing well, maybe in better form overall. I mean, they have what, four straight wins. They had the big, away wins at Chelsea, at West Ham, and Tottenham have. I mean, they've had that Liverpool match in there, and then prior to that, prior to the Leicester match, which they kind of played the Leicester B squad almost because Leicester was rotating with Conference League in there. They really struggled to get opportunities. Tottenham did against Brentford and Brighton. I'm not sure how much that matters for this one, but I think it's kind of something to look at. I know the home team has had success and everything. The home team has had success, but the last time Arsenal scored more than one goal away from home in this matchup was 2016. So you can look at that as well. I wouldn't look at the prior matchup this season. It was back in September. Obviously, Nuno Espirito Santo, was the manager of Tottenham at the time. They had a 4-3-3. They started Dele Ali. They started Dembele. They started Tanganga. You can't really look at the prior game between these teams this season. So you pretty much throw that one out the window. But I still think, the home form of the teams in this matchup is kind of what the odds are looking at and kind of what I'm looking at here. I originally thought, maybe this would be a little more high scoring. We've seen these Arsenal matches. Each of their last four have had at least three goals scored. And so I mean that is pointing to goals in this one. They don't have a ton of away clean sheets overall. I mean, that's lately because they've had injuries. So you got to include that. But they were up a guy against Leeds and then gave up a late goal in that one to make that one 2-1. But you look at the home and away splits here. Arsenal have allowed 10 more goals away from home this season than at home. Tottenham have scored 8 more goals at home than away from home this season. Clear difference for these teams between home and away. I know there are some teams in the league that are maybe kind of better away from home than they are at home. And sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't, but something to look at least. And just looking at Tottenham's home matches here. So they pretty much dominated Leicester a couple weeks ago. That was May 1st. Iheanacho got a late one in that one. Could have been a clean sheet prior to that. pretty defensive battle against Brighton, which neither team had really had very good chances. Before that, dominated Newcastle 5-1, dominated West Ham 3-1, dominated Everton. That's kind of been the run they're on at home. So that's something to take into account here. And well, in times we've had, recent, I don't know, showdowns, I guess, where you see random guys score, like whoever it was, Fabinho maybe last match, kind of a thing. But I was looking through the recent results between these teams, and it seems like always the forwards are scoring. I mean, you already have Tottenham here, and it seems like Kane and Sung are always the ones scoring. And then for Arsenal, it's kind of like okay, Saka, Odegaard, their front four really, and Katia lately. I mean, I'm looking at the matchup. The last time someone other than a winger or a forward didn't score was Toby Alderweireld in 2020, and then I mean before that it just keeps going. I guess Aaron Ramsey scored in 2019. So I mean, most for the most part, we're getting forward scoring. So that's something to keep in mind for tournaments. But let's start with cash games here. And the big question is, if you want to captain Son in cash games, it'd be a little more difficult. I guess you could do it in tournaments. Go ahead, but I think the difference here, thing with Son is that you're getting set pieces out of him. With Arsenal, we don't know the situation. Last couple matches, we've had splits between. So the last match, Cedric actually took 6 corners compared to Saka took one. Odegaard took three. Of note, Saka only played 68 minutes in that match. That was against Leeds. Before that, Martinelli was on some, and Cedric did not play. Before that, Cedric took, I think it was Arsenal's only corner in that match. So we have a lot of unknowns with Arsenal. Whereas with Son, it's like we know he's going to take every corner for Tottenham. It's nothing really to doubt. But can you fit him in? What else is your squad going to look like? So in cash games, if you want a captain Son, 18K, that's pretty penny to spend on him. We could, I mean, the route is just go if you want cheaper. We got Cedric here, 6,200. Hope he takes a couple corners. Hope he gets in a couple crosses. So one of the stats I was looking at beforehand, in terms of crosses allowed to defenders, Tottenham are one of the worst in the league in terms of crosses allowed to defenders. They are a third worst per 90 minutes crosses allowed to defenders, whereas Arsenal on the other end of that, they don't allow a ton of crosses to defenders. I mean, you could take those numbers into account, and sure, Conte hasn't been there all season, so that's something to keep in mind. But I mean, I look back at some recent results. Sufal had 6 crosses for West Ham a couple matches ago. So I mean, you could put something into the season-long numbers. Maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. But I think if Cedric starts, he's 6,200, reasonable cash play just because you just get the possible set pieces. And then if Saka isn't in there, I think Cedric is a pretty easy play in terms of cash games if Saka is not in the starting 11. Otherwise, we still have a pretty difficult. So I put something together. If you want both Tottenham wingbacks, which is an okay strategy, it's not nothing too great, I guess you could say, because we already know that Tottenham don't they don't these guys aren't going to have set pieces first off, and it's not like these guys get a ton of crosses at least consistently. We have these recent matches with Sessegnon, 8 crosses against Brentford. I mean, that was a scoreless match, so Tottenham were pushing a good portion of that match. And then, Tottenham beat Leicester 3-1. Sessegnon only had 1 cross in 90 minutes. So you have that. You have the up and downs of Sessegnon. Same goes for Emerson. So these guys, 5,400, 4,800. So you have a pretty wide range here. I mean, you look at Emerson Royale, he had you look at the Liverpool match, it's like, okay, 6 crosses, 4 tackles, one. His floor was 11.7 points. Okay, that's awesome. But I mean, you look at the other matches, he had, he had 6 crosses at Liverpool, and you look at his prior, 5 starts, 4 crosses total. Wait, 3 crosses. Wait, five, 5 crosses total in his prior 5 starts. So, I mean, you look at the highs and lows of Emerson. I mean, both those guys are really. I think Sessegnon is more likely to be subbed off early, but I think he is more likely to get those crosses, more likely to get forward a little more. I mean, we see the floor with Emerson, 0.5 points against Brighton. Arsenal don't play the same way, but I do think if you take into account the way we'll see what Arsenal starting 11 looks like. If Holding's in there, if we get another Tomiyasu start, assuming he's fit, dealt with a calf injury for around 3, 4 months. Nuno Tavares, we'll see. Again, I mean, I'm saying this, maybe Cedric may not start. So we don't know exactly what Arteta is going to do in this spot because Tavares, as I click on his profile here, Tavares, prior to that Leeds match, he started 4 straight matches. So that's kind of why I put Tavares in the projected 11. So there's a chance Cedric's not in there. So if Cedric's not in there, would you want Nuno Tavares? I guess that's fine. He's 5,600. I mean, his question is defensive liability, really. I mean, he's gotten a little better lately, but he does get forward a decent amount and he sends in okay amount of crosses. He's not going to be on set pieces. So that's one thing. But I think both those guys kind of interchangeable depending on what else you want to do. But even then, like if you got Sun Captain, you got Cedric, you got Emerson, you got Sessegnon, you don't have a ton else wiggle room here. So do you want like a Kane in there at forward in cash games? Maybe not. Do you want Nketiah? Probably not. But I mean, these guys still average, more than three shots per 90 minutes. I mean, you look at Kane, he has one of the better floors on the slate because you can see here per 90 minutes, 3.37 shots, 1.34 shots on goal. I mean, you take that into account, then you look at the goals that Arsenal allowing, and I think that Tottenham kind of want to get after it in this match. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. They played that Liverpool game super defensively, basically kind of playing for the draw there. They got that first goal and then got snuck out with a point. But I think they kind of want to come into this one, a little more attack focused. As I said, those recent home matches where they're just getting all those early goals and running out with it. Didn't happen against Brighton, but Arsenal don't really play the same way as Brighton, so I'm not too worried that Arsenal are gonna dominate possession and just limit any kind of opportunities that Tottenham have because that's not really the way Arsenal play. Arsenal, they will make mistakes. I mean, as we've seen the past month. I mean, we still have the unknowns. Tierney's not in there. We don't have Partey in there. So we still got these guys who aren't, the number one starters at their position. But comes back to this cash game. Do you want to play Eric Kane? Maybe, maybe not. If you don't want to play him, so we got with the 4 guys I said earlier, we got 15.6K left for 2 spots. So what do you want to do with that? Odegaard, he's taken, set pieces he's not really taking corners. We'll see if Saka starts. That kind of changes a few things because maybe Martinelli's going to be on some. We'll see with that. Martinelli hasn't really been taking any corners. So I guess there's a world in which we have Saka not starting and Cedric not starting. So that would lead to Martinelli. So it's kind of hard to talk about right now if that's the case. But he would probably move into a top cap cash play. If you want Saka in this squad, you're left with 5K and like in that range, you're looking at Tomiyasu, who is fine. He's nothing. He's nothing really special. He's more of a general player. He's not a fantasy player, really. Tomiyasu, especially coming off the injury, he's not 100%. I mean, even looking at it, you look at Chaka here, and his numbers are better than Tomiyasu. The problem with Chaka is that he's always in play for a red card. And other than that, do you want to just go with Tottenham instead? Would you want a Hojbjerg, who seems to be around 5 point floor, and really any of these guys, probably not Bentancur here, just a bit smaller floor than Hojbjerg here. So you got some wiggle room here with Sun Captain. It's not a lot. It depends what you want to do. It depends if you want to use a forwarding in cash games. We look up at the goal scoring odds. Probably not too heavy here. Plus 130 for Kane. So Nketiah is plus 200. So not a ton. Probably not going to be too popular in cash games. I'd say Harry Kane. What would be 30, 40% maybe. So not overly popular. We'll see if he's even less than that. So with this lineup, we have Son, Captain, Cedric, Emerson, Sessegnon, and then Saka in there. So you got the 2 most expensive guys, and then you're getting the fullbacks, you're getting the wing backs, and hoping those guys do something. If I mean those guys really have the best floor if you if you really look at it. Martinelli has, I mean, we even without set pieces, he's been pretty solid lately. But this is a different matchup, so I'm not set on that one. I do think Tottenham have the edge. Do you want to use Kulishevsky in cash games? Probably not. Probably not. Do you want to use either keeper? Not entirely on this slate. I don't think it's the move. We'll see if Saramet goes that route. He loves going with the keepers in cash games, but I mean, if anything, maybe he'd go with Ramsdale. We'll see with that. I don't think your Reese just not making a ton of saves, so I'm not sure this is the best slate for your Reese, but that's kind of the cash move here. If you don't want to go Son, go deeper with Saka, go Cedric. That's probably the route. And then that would just allow you to maybe use three of the high end guys instead of two of the high end guys with Son at captain. So I mean, I'll be getting to that with tournaments. So let me just look at some of the cheaper options here, sub 5K. So I mentioned Tomiyasu, Chaka, and then you pretty much have Tottenham midfielders, Tottenham center backs, Arsenal center backs. You got El Nani here. Now, I mean, I must have talked about a recent showdown here. Who was that? Must have been the Arsenal West Ham match where I called out El Nani, 4 point floor. I mean, he's 3,800. He's one of the cheapest guys in the slate, and he's coming close to the 5 points, and that's pretty much the same as like a guy like Chaka or whoever's up there at 5K. Same as Tomiyasu. So why not use one of these cheaper guys like El Neni, who's maybe the upside isn't there? I mean, what he is? Well, he has 3 shots, 4 shots assisted in his last 4 starts. So you're hoping for a few defensive stats, but really, what else is down here? You got center backs. You got the Tottenham center backs down here, and then just in comparison here with El Neni, 3,800. Would you rather want Tomiyasu at 5,000, Chaka at 4,600, or El Neni at 3,800? Not much of a difference. So if you can use that money somewhere else, go ahead. Question is if you can use that money somewhere else. That is that is the question. So that's kind of the cash move here as my throat starts to dry up. In tournaments, let's see what we can do here. If you want, let's look at the odds. We got going back to the head to head and how the home teams always had the edge. Let's go with Harry Kane, captain. And he'll probably be Kane will probably be second, third most popular captain. So this will be a more popular route. So maybe this is going to be a smaller contest that you want to captain Harry Kane, but you're just hoping he gets the goal. Hoping kind of like a Son doesn't get the goal. Hopefully Kane gets more points than Son, kind of a thing. So you get Kane and Son. You get those guys in there, and then you go down. You get the wing backs. Hopefully, maybe one of those guys gets an assist, kind of a thing. So this is kind of a heavy Tottenham stack here, and then throw in El Nani just to get down there, and then that would allow you to move up to. I mean, you're close to Nketiah. Nketiah's at 9,400. You got 9,300 left with his lineup, so you're still around this range. We'll see if Smith Rowe starts. We can get Martinelli in this squad. Get Smith Rowe. I mean, you can even get Kulishevsky if you're really heavy on Tottenham. So, I mean, there's a pretty decent route here with Harry Kane. If you don't even want to use like Emerson or something, which, okay, that's fine. If you want Nketiah, throw in El Neni in there, and then you're looking at like El Neni and Chaka. Okay, two Arsenal defensive midfielders. Why not? Yeah, why not? I mean, maybe you're kind of just hoping maybe they both get to the 5 point floor because they're winning the ball a lot in the midfield, kind of a thing, and then maybe they get some shots, they get some shots assisted, kind of a thing. I mean, even if not, if you don't want that route, you still got Hojberg in here, and Hojberg at times gets forward. I guess you haven't really seen it of late, but he's in certain matchups, he's sniffing around goal. So I don't hate Hosberg at 4,000. He's kind of saying the same as Al Neni, except Hosberg is favored, so that has to be taken into account. But you have a pretty decent build. I mean, with Kane captain, even with Son in the lineup, I just think uh, it's not like I don't know. I think I'm probably too heavy on El Neni here, and that's fine. So you don't need him. I mean, But even here, 3,800, 4,000, like these guys aren't complete punts. These aren't like center backs who are going to get 2 points. At least that's the hope. So that's a Kane captain. So I think that's a pretty decent route. If you want to go with a cheaper route, and we don't really have a cheaper route for the Arsenal forwards, as with some slates with a heavy favorite and an underdog kind of a thing. So, I mean, Odegaard is down here. Hope for, a goal from a set piece or something from a free kick. He's down here, 11.1 captain, but still not heavy for me here. So, I mean, it seems like even when Odegaard scores, like, yeah, he's getting around 18 to 20 points. So it's not like he's a guy that's going to really break the slate. And it's not like he's that cheap. I mean, he's still 1,000 more than your Reese. Do you want to go the Ramsdale route? As I say it, as I say it, probably Ramsdale is going to get a clean sheet or something, but I don't think this is the Ramsdale slate. I just don't. You look at the goals they're allowing, no matter how the matches are played, like they allowed a late goal against Leeds. It seems like this group right here, just they aren't getting clean sheets. Ramsdale has allowed a goal in what eight straight matches here since that Liverpool match. So you take that into account. You take into the home side controlling this matchup. So I wouldn't look at Ramsdale. Uh, but hey, you can do that. Obviously, I'm all about the goalkeeper captain. You can do that. Do you want your Reese? He's another guy. Will the saves be there? That's a question. The saves, I mean, he made 2 saves against Liverpool. Granted, Tottenham played a little differently. He's made 4 saves in the last 3. You get the random Aston Villa match where he made 8 saves, but before that, it's like 0 saves, 0 saves, 0 saves. So is it worth it at 10.2K for Urice? Probably not, unless you're thinking win clean sheet, 4+ saves. It's possible, but I still don't think he's cheap enough to where this is where he's like, a really good goalkeeper captain kind of play. So we can go down here. We got Nuno Tavares, 8,400. Cedric is 9,300, just above Ramsdale. Cedric is an option. If he starts, obviously, we go to Segnan. That's kind of where we're looking. And then back to my favorite defensive midfielders. So let's try one of these cheap guys here. Let's just do Sessegnon. Do we want to do Sessegnon? And it's kind of with Sessegnon, you just want to hope that maybe he gets to 10 points kind of a thing. Maybe he gets an assist, maybe, 5+ crosses, and you just hope he doesn't bust. So what does he allow you to do? That's kind of what the main question is. That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's why you want to captain a cheaper player. So it allows you to get more of the forwards. If you think this is going to be a high scoring match kind of a thing, as long as, Kane doesn't get a hat trick, Son doesn't get on the score sheet 3 times kind of a thing, this route can work. So this will allow you this will allow you to get Son, Kane, throw those guys in there. You still got 21K left for your final 3 spots. So Saka's in there, another expensive guy. Going, this is the 3 most expensive guys in the slate. So you're not going to have, it's not going to be that much you can do else, but you still, uh, even if you don't do Saka, let's see if you can do Nketiah and Martinelli. You're down at 2,800, so you can't really do that. Let's see. Let's just try Saka, Son, and Kane. Yeah, I mean it's 10.4K. So let's just say you also want this random Hosberg goal, and then you're left with 64. So I mean you can get Cedric in this lineup. So it's a Sagnon captain, you get Son, you get Kane, you get Saka, Hosberg random goal, Cedric, 10-point floor. So I mean, you're getting the top 3 guys. That's what Sessegnon captain does. And if the goals are spread out, if this is a 2-1 match, let's say Son scores and he doesn't surpass 20 points. Let's say Kane scores, he doesn't surpass 20 points. Same with Saka. So none of these guys surpass 20 points, but you have all 3 of them. And for the most part, if like someone's captaining Son or Kane or Saka, I guess, they're not going to have the top 3 guys. So we could also even put Nketiah in the squad instead of Saka or something like that. But let's just say you get the 3 goal scorers in this game, and then let's say maybe Sessegnon gets assists, maybe he doesn't, but his floor maybe hits 8 points, something like that. You get the 3 goals, maybe, and hope that these other guys like Hochberg, Elneny, or Cedric, whoever, don't bust completely, and you're still in a better spot than most people because they're not going to have the third goal scorer. That's the benefit. I look back at the recent results. There's not a ton of defensive midfielders or defenders, showing up on the score sheet in this matchup. So if that's the route you want to go, Sessegnon is down there. Uh, let's see what else we can do before I head off. That is. So Sessegnon, 7.2 captain. Below him, I mean, what else? There's not a ton. Like, you could go Emerson too, but I mean, he's another 1K more. You could go Hochberg here. Hochberg 6K. You could probably get a little more here. So for the most part, like, he's hitting 4 points. So he's not going to be a complete bust, but maybe it's one of these matches where he gets one or two shots. He had recently 3 shots at Aston Villa, 2 shots at Manchester United. If he has one of these one of these games, gets forward, finds himself in the box, gets a shot assist, kind of a thing. 8 points. Again, same situation. That 8 point floor is a good spot to go because when you go Hochberg here, you can go Son, you can go Saka. let's say you want to go in Ketia and throw in Odegaard here and like 4,600. Like, you're in the shot, you're in the Chaka range, you're in the El Neni range, but allergies or something going on here. But yeah, Hochberg captain, you can get Son, Saka. I didn't even put Kane in this lineup. Screwed it up. Sorry about that. Okay, let's just say Son, Kane, Nketiah, Odegaard. So you got 4 possible goal scorers right there. So that's the thing. If you want to spend down at captain, there you go. You can definitely get more goal scorers in. If you want to captain Son, if you want to captain Kane, Saka, you're probably only gonna get 2 high end guys, and then you're kind of at the will, hoping for those Tottenham wing backs to kind of do something. And from what we've seen for the most part of this season, that's not the best thing to bank on. So we'll see what happens with that. But this has been a long North London Derby discussion. Hopefully it helped. We will be back tomorrow, or actually today. Maybe we have Kits and Wagers, our betting discussion, me and Chris Owen. And tomorrow, I believe at some point we're talking. So we have a Bundesliga 9 game slate on Saturday. We're going to have an article for that. We'll see when DraftKings releases that slate. As for the Premier League, it's 5 game slate on Sunday. So we may get Jordan Cooper, but we will have Ryan Belangi. Hopefully that slate comes out at some point earlier on Friday so we can do the show at the same time as usual. I don't trust DraftKings, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Ryan Belangi just took another massive contest down yesterday in what was, I think, one of the easiest cash builds I've seen this season yesterday, and we'll see what Sunday brings for us. But we'll be back tomorrow. Today we got more shows, podcast forum, YouTube forum, Twitter forum. They'll be everywhere, so you'll find it. Again, check out our Discord, rotowire.com/soccer trial, free 10-day trial, no credit card required. Got this awesome cheat sheet up that I've been using for the show. We'll see you guys later today. We'll see you tomorrow. No matter what, rotowire.com. We have your content. See you.